Well, you obviously won't listen to reason, so I guess I'll listen to your idioticness and just come along with you.
I do not know this one.
It is done by... this is from a series that just barely, after being canceled 4 times, just got...
Futurama. Say it again?
Well, you obviously won't listen to reason, so I guess I'll just listen to the idioticness and just come with you.
Is that Bender who said it?
It's Leela.
Oh, Leela. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, as well. I could see that. I was like, it's not Fry who said that.
No,
because he's probably the one that did the idiotic stuff. Oh, I think I remember that now. Because is that when he wants to binge watch?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I got that from Because can I tell you, I've only watched episode 1 of the new Futurama, but there is multiple things that I loved about it. And one thing, and I don't know if you did it, I mean, it's totally up my alley, but when they started talking about Hulu and all of the shows that were available on it, I paused and read every single most of those titles are hysterically funny. In fact, that my initial goal was to just list off at least a 4th of them and just randomly just start reading them as the open. But I strongly recommend if you have or have not seen Futurama, when it comes to the screen of all the shows on Hulu, pause and just read it because it's funny. And then there will be moments where, as you're talking to your son about reading them off, you'll have to possibly explain some of the weirdness behind all of it because there are layers.
Oh, wow. I'm going to
within
go back and check that then.
Yeah.
No, it's a great show. I'm glad it's back. I was kind of a little disappointed because I feel like in the first one they poked fun at people who only drop 1 episode at a time. Did they not?
Yeah.
And yet they're dropping 1 episode at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And for shame.
Well, and then they mock the binge model, and then they mock Disney. So, I mean,
they're mocking everybody.
Exactly. Well, welcome to the Utterly Useless Podcast. I am Brett, the Dead Reckoning of this podcast. To my left, the Ghost Protocol of this podcast. It's Jeremy. And to my right, the Fallout of the podcast is Timmy.
I don't know Fallout. I know Ghost Protocol is my favorite, I think. That's the one where they go to Dubai.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's the best. What is Fallout? Which one's that one?
I can't remember.
Fallout's the Henry Cavill.
The Henry
one.
Cavill.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You're the Henry Cavill of the podcast.
Henry Cavill.
You're the Jeremy Renner of the podcast.
I was more excited to find out which Futurama character I was. I'm saddened now.
We've done it previously.
Yeah, we've done it previously, so I couldn't do that.
Nobody hears a Bender.
No.
I don't know. I think I did it. I don't know if I did. I threw you guys randomly as
Yeah.
I think I was like Zoidberg or I don't remember.
I love Zoidberg.
But I will tell you, just having watched Dead Reckoning, I am so amped for rewatching all of the Mission Impossible series.
I did not like number 2. I remember that much.
So
and number 3, I think too.
Number 1, I was just like, oh, you made the good guy from the TV series the villain. Okay. Number 2, I remember not liking. Number 3, I was just like, that was like the glory days of Philip Seymour Hoffman being in everything.
Yep.
So I actually feel as though I owe the series a shake, its fair shake, and just start rewatching them.
I feel like it found its footing in 4 and on.
It did. I agree. I would agree. 4 and on, it really got much better.
And I really want to see Dead Reckoning. I'm just waiting for it.
I will tell you, it is near nonstop action. It's one of those things where, you go to a movie and you're just like, this part, what was it when we were talking about the best movies or whatever, and there's that lull point, and that was kind of there is a lull point, but it doesn't last for long. And even within that lull point, it's set up for the next action scene.
So that's unusual for Mission Impossible because there's so many lulls and exposition telling, and so that's rare.
So would what was I gonna say? Woof, that just left my head. Wow. All right, I'll bring it back up later as my brain brings it back to me.
All right. Well, I guess with that.
All right, merit badges. What do we got?
All right. Do you want to go first, Brett?
All right. So my merit badge is, it's one of those that is frustrating when it occurs. It happens at random moments in period of time. And that is sitting next to the worst person in the world merit badge.
Is it me? I was sitting right next to you.
No, it's not you, but they're in this room. Just kidding.
Jude.
But no. So after in the first week of July, we were on a cruise, and after that, we hopped on a plane. And as we entered this plane, there was this horrific sound of something. And the best way to describe it was something. Like, I had no idea what this sound was, what was going on. But the further I was getting to the back of the plane, the louder this sound was. And lo and behold, as I look at my ticket, the sound is coming from right across the aisle from where I am going to be sitting. This lady bought a dog 3 weeks before her trip, and she decided to bring it with her on this plane. And this horrific sound was this dog panicking, freaking out, and whining all at the same time. And it happened for the flight was about 3.5 hours. It happened for the first 3 hours, or for the first hour. Then it stopped. Then the captain went on and gave us an update, and then it started again, and then it stopped, and then it started as we started descending into San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
So yes, I had the experience of sitting next to the worst person in the entire world merit badge.
I'm just curious, because obviously you have the information that she got this 3 weeks before.
Uh-huh.
How'd you find that out?
Mom was asking her.
I actually knew that was going to be the answer without even knowing. So
she was, my mom was just like sitting there, was like, what's in that box over there? Because she,
it's a gremlin.
Well, the funny thing is, there was on our side, there was 3 seats. On her side, there is 2 seats. Well, she for some reason was slouching down and just petting this thing through this padded box on the ground. Nobody sat by her. I luckily they did not sell out the entire flight. And that person, because I also asked, like, did you just like buy that seat? And because she was also a big lady too. Yeah. Did you just buy that seat so that nobody had to sit by you? And she goes, no, it's just lucky, I guess. I was like, oh my gosh, I would hate you so much.
Yes.
If I was sitting next to you. I mean, I was, but I had the aisle barrier.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow. Did you put on your headphones? Could you?
Yeah. Well,
drown it out?
so this is what I did. So I have the Wise earbuds. Mm-hmm. I also on the trip I brought the Wise noise canceling headphones. I put the Wise earbuds in my ear and then put the headphones over top of them. I will tell you, it worked, but the headphones pushed in the earbuds to the point where like my ears were hurting.
Oh yeah.
So
I could see that. All right. Well, I got my merit badge, and it's similar to yours. It is, it takes place on an airplane, but it is called making my own perfume. So
there's a horror movie about that.
Jude has no idea who's my son who's sitting here next to us as we're recording this, but he was on the plane with me. So on one of the flights on the way here, this lady smelled so bad. And I mean like really bad. Like do you wash ever kind of bad?
Oh.
And I've only smelled that level of grossness a couple times in my life, and usually it's saved for somebody who lives in a trailer or somebody who doesn't,
trailer smell.
Yeah, trailer smell. Or somebody who I guess rolls around in garbage all day. Anyway, I happened to be gassy that time, and I was preferring the smell of my gas. So I just kept letting them out because I wanted to smell something different than her grossness. So I was making my own perfume to smell something nicer than what she was giving out, unfortunately.
Now, just out of curiosity, did you like before boarding the flight, you had like this gigantic bean burrito and you just decided like to inhale it upon
lock and loaded. What is it? I need a solution for number 2, torpedo number 2. No, I did not. Ate well before that, but no, it was a happy coincidence that I needed to toot so many times, and I just leaned into it. I just, stretch it out enough that like it was quiet, but I was like, so much better.
Prefer the smell of your own.
That's how bad it was.
How close was this lady?
She was right next to me, and she was.
Did she smell?
A biggerish
Did
woman.
she smell your?
I have
perfume?
no idea. I mean, I don't know how she could over her. So, but
I mean, if she smelled that bad, she probably would have been like, what are you wearing,
am
sir?
I home?
Was that me?
Is my husband on this flight?
But yeah, she was a big lady, so obviously it was even a little bit more difficult to kind of get away from her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was gross. And I was proud of it, to be honest, because I was dying on that. Like, I think it was like a 3.5 hour flight. So,
Wow. Okay, well, my merit badge. This happened a couple weeks ago. There was. I've been dealing with a lot of people at work, and something happened one week where just like something flickered on in my brain, and so I'm calling this the voice recognition merit badge. And the reason I call it that is because like whenever I would hear people speak, it would trigger somebody that is familiar, like a celebrity. So like I would hear somebody sounded like Nick Cage one day. Somebody sounded like Andy Samberg one day.
which is funny because Andy Samberg does Nicolas Cage voices.
Somebody sounded like Flanders from The Simpsons.
Oh, that's one that I don't think I've ever heard out in the wild.
Oakley dokley. So it was just a crazy week of it. Just I filtered through 1,500 people at work, and so it was just one thing after another, and all of a sudden it just clicked in my brain of who it sounded like.
To entertain myself during Zoom calls at work, I look at the person's picture or look at the person if they have a video on, and I go, "You look like this person, this celebrity."
The facial recognition.
Yes, I try to do that, and when I'm bored, I'm like, so I get it. It.
That week it was just all voices. I just kept hearing left and right.
I'm glad you do that, because what I do, especially because when they insist that your camera's on, I will stare at my like reflection and just kind of like,
yes, I do that too. I started going like making little movements and entertaining, but yeah, I do that too.
That's fantastic.
Spin the wheel.
All right, we got Spin the Wheel, where we have 10 categories of questions. We're going to spin the wheel to decide which question we're going to ask one another. And here we go. Brett got Kiss, Marry, Kill.
all right, kiss, marry, kill. I have for you 3 cartoon characters:
Ooh.
Shaggy, Shrek, Wreck-It Ralph.
I thought there was going to be another shh.
No, I actually was trying to do that, but no.
Okay. Where do I start? Because usually there's one person that's so bad that you're just like, okay, off them. Or there's one person that's so good, okay, let's just marry him. This one, I don't think I'd want to marry Shrek.
I'd kill Shrek.
Okay, I said I'd marry him. You're just going straight out to kill him. Okay. Shaggy, I think I'm marrying Wreck-It Ralph. I love Wreck-It Ralph. I love the show. And every day he goes to work, I'm going to wreck him. I'm like, yeah, Ralph, you do you.
Just clean it up when you're done.
Exactly. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to wreck it.
No, please, no.
Just clean it up.
I have to clean that up. No.
He comes home from work. I'm a bad guy. You're not a bad guy, hon.
You just misunderstood.
Yeah. But yes, I can't marry Shaggy. Zoinks.
Like, I'll marry Shaggy. And I'll
That was good.
kiss Wreck-It Ralph.
So, you're marrying Shaggy?
Yeah, I'll marry Shaggy.
Okay, I'm marrying Wreck-It Ralph, kissing Shaggy.
We'll just
and
be sitting on the
killing
dock eating
Shrek.
sandwiches.
You know what? I agree with that.
You're gonna what?
We're gonna sit on the dock eating sandwiches.
Shouldn't you be in the mystery machine?
We pick and choose when we want to serve.
Now, is it like is what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? The
Scooby?
dog. Scooby. Is Scooby involved?
No.
No. Okay. Man, he's going through withdrawals then. Shaggy.
As long as he's got his food, he's fine.
Exactly.
There you go. All right. Well, what would you do, Brett? I'm curious.
I'm 100% behind Tim. Like, yeah, marrying Shaggy, kissing Wreck-It Ralph, and the odd man out is Shrek. I don't think I'd want to kiss Shrek.
No.
Shrek smells.
But if we kill Shrek, do we get a reward for that? Because Lord Farquaad
Ooh.
always is saying
That's true.
That's just a bonus.
That's just a bonus.
there
It's
we
just
go.
like, yeah, I don't want to kiss that thing. So upside money.
we have a wedding present. All right, my turn. And I got what if. Okay, so this is an interesting one. It's a scenario. You could earn $100 an hour to drink a cup of straight vinegar. Would you quit your job?
Yes.
$100 an hour to drink straight
So, like-
vinegar.
Like a cup. So like if you like a cup of vinegar for every hour, like is for like for the hour right now, if you drink a cup, you earn $100. And then the next hour, you drink another cup of vinegar, you get $100.
Can I pick the vinegar?
It's just the regular vinegar. You can pick like the vinegar, but it can't be apple cider vinegar. It has to be like vinegar.
Can I add anything to the vinegar?
No.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that because if I could have like my choice of vinegar substances, because I mean, hello, ketchup.
Can I eat stuff with the vinegar?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's a meal?
Yeah. If you wanted to, you could have fish and chips and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So-
and just can I dip stuff in it and eat it?
No, you have to drink
Has
it.
to drink. No, so no kind of interaction with it other than just
Yeah,
Straight-
so, you
straight.
could like drink half of it, take a bite of some, fish, and then drink some more.
I think I can do that. Yeah.
Would you quit your job?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I think I would do it. I think I'd quit my job.
I can find ways around affecting the flavor.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it'd be easier than working.
I get creative.
Drinking just a cup of it, like a measuring cup.
Yeah.
One whole cup though is 8 ounces. So
Yeah. I
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
not do that.
I could do that. Yeah.
You could do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I could do it. So, all right, Criddle, you're up, and you got how much?
We're going with some eating here. How much would it take to eat in its entirety a deep fried stick of butter?
Told you I could eat that whole stick of butter.
Best line from Louis.
That show. I don't know why I didn't watch more of it as a kid.
Yeah.
A deep fried stick of butter, a whole deep fried. How much money?
Yeah, how much?
$20,000 because I need some money to get over the self-hatred that I would have for myself.
I'd do it for 1,000. I mean, it's just eating butter, and yes, it's gross, but I want $1,000. I mean, preferably I'd like more, but I mean that's my bottom dollar.
Okay.
What about you?
Oh, I'd do it for like $150.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Have you ever had deep fried butter?
No,
I was just curious.
no. But I feel like it's something simple.
So how would you do it? So obviously it has to be battered.
Yeah, batter.
So
What batter would you go with? Just flour? Or would you?
maybe a beer batter.
Oh, beer batter. Ooh, there we go. Throwing in something.
I mean, I can see myself doing this and just dipping it into ketchup also.
Can I dip it?
Yeah.
Ooh, what could we dip it in? What What would be good in that? Because I'm thinking, first of all,
A caramel sauce.
that's what I was thinking, like caramel or chocolate. But I'm like, would that
multiple
work?
dips. Multiple dips. We got caramel here. We got ketchup here.
Would you like sprinkles on that?
Yeah.
Or
Maraschino cherry.
Dip it in butter.
or do the. I just caught that. Or you could do the Homer Simpson of like the waffle. Was that waffle he makes with the whole stick? He wraps it around the whole stick of butter.
Yeah.
Wrap it in bacon.
I have to ask: did cartoon food look so good to you guys?
Yes.
Remember that hot chocolate from The Simpsons? That looked pretty good.
Which one is that?
The one that Flanders makes and leaves
Oh
for
yeah.
Bart.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, there's so much food in cartoons that I'm like, I want that. Like, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the pizza looked amazing.
It did.
And, like, I wanted it. And yet, if I had a pizza that would, like, just kind of, like, be
Ooze
soggy,
cheese.
kind of, and ooze cheese, I don't know if I'd want it.
No, I
yeah.
agree.
All right. Back to the wheel. Brett, you're up next, and you got what would you have done?
All right. So you're eating at a diner all alone,
Oh, man,
Wait.
we're eating today.
waiting for your food. Guy next to you gets up, pulls out a lottery ticket, and just mumbles, "Here's your tip," and just walks away. A short time later, as this food has not been picked up or whatever, you hear on the radio the winning lottery numbers. And all of the numbers are on underneath this guy's coffee cup that he left for a tip. What would you have done?
Oh, okay. So I can see it. I look over and I'm like checking. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't like you for this ethical quandary here.
I'd leave another tip and take that one.
Do I know if the waiter has looked at the...
You know that they have not looked at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just replace it with
Oh,
another
man,
tip.
how much guilt would I have the rest of my life? How much money is it for?
Let's just say 500 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd leave another tip.
Oh my gosh. I would have so much guilt, but I'd want to do it. Be
I'll
like,
be generous. I'll leave $100 tip.
who has $100 bill on him though?
No, I mean
Oh,
you take the ticket and then you say, "Hey, I want to leave that waiter $100,"
There you go.
and you could buy something. You
That's
could buy
true.
a cup of Coke and be like, oh, "Okay, I want to leave $100 tip on this Coke," and they'll feel so good.
I think it would be. I think my answer would depend on the friendliness of that waiter. If he's a jerk, I'd be like, "Yep, yoink." But if he's a nice guy, I'd be like, "Ah, I
Mine's regardless.
what about you, Brett? What would you do?
I am sadly leaning towards
Taking it?
the criddle side of everything. And then what I think I would do is I would like get the name of the waiter. And then here's what I would do. After claiming my lottery tickets, I would go back to the same thing, and I'd be one of those, like, you know, remember, I think a couple of years ago, like Tom Cruise or somebody like left like $1,000 tip or whatever.
go.
That I would come back and do that, and everybody be like, "Oh my gosh, this guy was so nice. He left $1,000
Yep.
tip for me."
And I'll leave him a cake too. A full cake.
I would sadly, if he's a nice guy, I would watch what he does with it, and I wouldn't say anything. And if he just threw it away, I would go jump in the garbage.
Huh, you're not unfamiliar with dumpster diving.
I am very familiar with
Comes
it.
out, hey, look, I got a lottery ticket and some pink cookies.
Hey, they're delicious.
They are.
All right, my turn, and I got Could You Fight It? So I decided to take a spin on Could You Fight It? Could you fight a cute little puppy that you must fight to get $100,000?
Yes.
I kicked that puppy so hard.
You would. Oh, once again, I'm the nice one here, apparently, because I'm like, I don't think I could.
I have no emotional attachments to pets.
You said kick it. You didn't say.
I said fight it.
Yeah. You didn't say to the death.
Yeah. just
I was gonna put death. I was holding back.
Because if I kick it, you know, except especially if it was a Chihuahua. If it was,
Oh man, okay, it's not a Chihuahua because if it was, I would punt that thing to the next state.
but yeah, I mean, you kick a dog or whatever. Oh, now I sound like a horrible person.
Dude, you just be the Jack Black kicking it off the bridge.
Now this is happening.
But yeah, you give it. I don't even think you'd have to give it half a kick, and the dog would just and just like run away.
Okay, well, I guess because I didn't set the parameters, that's fair. Because if you get the dog to run away,
Yeah.
then you won.
One
Essentially,
kick and it goes.
I just kick its butt. I'd feel better about that. Literally, I would kick its butt instead of its face or something.
I think I would actually like do a 360 first to see if there was like any video cameras around.
while you're doing a 360, your foot's out.
Exactly.
Swing.
Because if you're caught on camera, suddenly
Yeah.
you're like on like 60 minutes or something like that.
This guy kicks dogs
Yup.
for $100,000. All of a sudden, you're getting all these phone calls. Please kick my neighbor's dog.
What does your neighbor's dog look? Oh, it's a Rottweiler. No, not kicking that. Sorry.
We're gonna up the price. Rottweilers are at least $2 million.
Kick a Rottweiler?
And then run.
Yeah, I could do that.
I wouldn't. Oh my word. I think you'd get, if it didn't bite your foot, it would pounce on you.
If it was a Rottweiler, I'd feel more inclined because, especially if I like entered its domain and it came at me, I'd feel 100% like, okay, you're getting kicked. And also to have like, I researched that dog training stuff that the police have to wear, and I'd have stuff on my hands and my legs, just so that when it does bite, it's not so bad.
You can be Brad Pitt like in World War Z and just tape some magazines to your
Oh,
arms
there you
and
go.
legs.
Exactly. Yep.
There you go.
Get some chainmail around my hand so when it bites, doesn't
First
touch me.
positive thing that's ever come out of that movie.
All right, let's see. And where are we? We are with Criddle with random question.
All right. Do you guys trust AI?
Of course I do.
If you're listening,
I love AI. I support it. Yeah, I do. I think even though it's AI, it's within bounds that it really can't do much.
It's not Skynet yet. I mean, when it gets to Skynet level, then definitely not trusting it. But like, what was it? I read this crappy Doctor Who comic, and I went to ChatGPT, and with the same premise, I typed in to ChatGPT to come up with a storyline with this similar premise, and it kicked out such a good, actual, decent story, which is why all Hollywood writers should be panicked, because you can be replaced by a thing that has a little bit more talent and imagination than you just doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's going, yeah. I mean, there's Black Mirror about that. I don't know if you've seen the new season. I just only watched the first episode.
I watched half of the first season. I with Black Mirror, I read the summary. I'm like, not into it.
Did you watch the one about like Netflix essentially?
No.
Okay. Yeah, essentially what the story is Netflix gives in their user agreement, you're agreeing to like your phone has the ability to listen to you and at times turn on the camera and record you, and they use that information with AI to create like deep fakes, like film it all with AI and cast whoever they want, obviously, because they have images and likeness of people, and they reenact your whole life, but they put spins on it to make. So in this case, they make the
is this Bad Amy or whatever?
Yeah, they make Amy or whatever seem like a horrible person. They just put a little spin on her life to make it seem like instead of a normal person, she's a mean person. And they're like, why do you make her mean? It's like, people like watching meaner people. They don't like watching normal people.
Oh yeah, Joan is awful.
Yeah, that one. And it's funny because, I don't know if you've ever watched Schitt's Creek, but Alexa in that is the main girl, and then her Netflix version of her that is, deep faked onto her is played by Salma Hayek. And then because Salma Hayek is, playing her in the show, but yet is reenacting the life, then she's seeing the reaction of her on Netflix as well in the show. And that's played by another, I forgot, famous actress too. And I was like, that's hilarious that they went that deep. But it's an interesting premise because I could see not Netflix going that way, but I could see how the movie world can just be like, once they get a 3D rendering of Tom Cruise, they can have him do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
So,
which I've heard, I haven't seen it. I'm kind of curious if Tim has, but Indiana Jones 5, I've heard the best part about Indiana Jones 5 is the younger Indiana Jones. And then when it gets to old Harrison Ford or old Indy, the story takes a massive turn for the less than fun. That's what I've heard.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it.
All right.
Fake news.
Fake news. All right. I have 3 rounds, which each round we're going to do 3 headlines. And you are going to decide which one is the true headline amongst the 2 false ones. Okay. And here we go. Number 1. Lego statue of Dolly Parton sells for over $2.5 million at auction.
That sounds plausible.
Number 2. Chief Uno player wanted as toy company Mattel. Wow. Sorry.
Okay, not that one.
I don't know what happened here because it doesn't sound like English at all.
That's what you get for having AI write your fake news headlines for you.
Here, I will find it. 1 second. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, it was essentially Chief Uno player wanted as toy company Mattel offers 5-figure salary for 1 month's worth of work.
Oh, wow.
And then the third one, it is Mattel has been receiving nonstop requests to make a Ryan Gosling Ken doll from adult women.
Okay, I'm going to go with the last one because that is so plausible, and I might not be 100% into the Barbie movie, but I've heard Ryan Gosling is the best part about the Barbie movie. So I'm going to say third one.
Just to be different, third one was pretty good choice. So I'm going to go with Dolly Parton.
You both are incorrect.
Wow.
It is the Chief Uno player.
Hey, how dare you make it sound like you like...
I know. Sorry. It's all part of the show. Okay, round 2. All right, British Airways serves KFC to passengers after issue with in-flight meals. We had to wing it, they said. Number 2. Japan Airlines will now provide Icky Doll to anyone who buys an extra seat in advance. Icky Dolls are those life-size dolls.
Oh, okay.
That, yeah.
So you're not sitting by the most annoying person in the world.
Exactly. Number 3. Spirit Airlines to start playing ads over the PA system during taxi.
Oh, that would be the worst. I'm going to go with the first one. That sounds more plausible. Or I guess, actually, the Japanese one also sounds plausible too.
I'm going with Japanese.
I'm going to go with the KFC.
Brett's on the board with 1 point.
Yeah.
All right. The final round. Florida Aquarium blames manatee's death on high-intensity sex with another male.
Another Florida thing.
Oh. I'm just sitting there thinking like, somebody's like, that's not true. Like, hey, we've got footage.
We've been observing this for a while. All right. Number 2. Florida man jumps into penguin exhibit to see if they would attack for a potential viral video.
Okay.
Number 3, a Florida monkey has been known to escape out of their exhibit and steal alcoholic beverages from visitors.
That's it. I'm going with the first one.
I'm going to go with alcoholic monkey.
You guys are tied at the end of this. It's
Oh.
Florida manatee. Those were Florida mans, but that was a Florida manatee.
Oh my word! Is it weird that I want to just see if there's like security footage on the internet?
Do you want to see it or do you want to watch it? See that exist?
I want to see the news thing where they're just like, this highly implausible story is actually true. We've got footage live at 11.
Oh my gosh. All right. If you've been listening for a while, you know that occasionally we give you guys a treat and we do a March Madness of sorts. This time around, we are going to be doing March Madness Most Rewatchable TV Series. Now, let's set some ground rules here. I think we talked about this, but just for everybody to be on the same page, This is from first episode to the last season's episode, like most rewatchable from the whole series, right? All right. Any other stipulations we should consider?
I don't think so.
All right. So I threw in here the into our bracket the title along with the tomato meter score and the average audience score off of Rotten Tomatoes. So here we go. Round 1.
Oh boy.
Money Heist versus Futurama.
I think it's Futurama easy. I mean, Money Heist, at least for me, was a good one-time watch. I've thought about rewatching it, and then I've thought I'd rather not.
Yeah, I watched it one time as well, and then they even did like a remake of it in a different language, Korean. So I'm like, why?
Yeah, when I was excited about the Korean one until I read about it that it's literally the exact same story.
Which is weird because they did the exact opposite thing for the Bird Box.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a new Bird Box one. It's like
Board box.
Bird Box, like Portugal or something like that, or Spain. And it actually is the similar event that occurs in there, but a completely different story.
So yeah, and then also I know just want to start go back and set the ground rules here as well, or let the listeners know. So what we tried to do with the list that we have here that we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, all 64 of them. Not all of us have watched every single one of them, but I made at least it so 2 of us have watched each of these these series. And at least there are obviously some where all 3 of us have watched it, but that is the attempt. We will try and fill in the best that we can. But yeah, I am going as well, Futurama. I don't think, obviously it has it listed as 32 because I randomized this.
Yeah, not a 32 seat.
And Money Heist is not a number 1 seat. Money Heist, I actually am wanting to watch that with my wife again because she's never seen it and I think she would love it. So I think it is rewatchable, but definitely not to the capacity that Futurama is.
Futurama has withstood the test of time. It's gotten canceled and then come back. Canceled, come back.
And it's funny because it was funny that we're doing this segment because the other day, one of my the Facebook things I follow, they asked the question, what is the most rewatchable TV series? Or they didn't ask it in those words. They said, what is the show that you always watch the most to make you feel happy or to fill the time or whatever? And a lot of people said Futurama. And I was like, yeah, I did that too for a while, especially when I lived with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So it's 3 for Futurama. All right. Next one, Prison Break versus Full House.
All right. So I'm going to just say unpopular opinion. So when you sent out the whole thing, I don't think I checked both boxes because not only have I not seen all of Prison Break, but I've not seen all of Full House. But I think season 1 of Prison Break is better than anything for Full House.
I mean, I have seen up to the season where they go to Panama. So I think that's season 3. I don't remember how many seasons it goes.
Full House, I don't know, 6?
Oh.
Maybe?
No, I
7?
don't know how many Prison
Oh.
Break goes, but
Yeah,
Full House. I
Full
know.
House goes to Panama.
Jude, do you know? You've watched it recently, right?
I mean, my only thing that I watched Full House for was I had a massive crush on Michelle. Like, that was my...
Michelle's the middle?
Yeah.
No, the youngest.
No. Okay. Wait, sorry. Who is the...
Not the youngest.
Michelle's the youngest.
Who's the middle?
Stephanie?
Stephanie. Okay. Yeah. I had a massive crush on
I was
Stephanie.
about to say my crush on the little kid.
See, that's how much I don't know.
Now let's cut that clip out and just plaster that all over the world. That Brett was attracted to a little baby.
I was a little baby at that time.
So I'm just looking up
You
right
got
now.
it, dude.
Prison Break this is 90 episodes. What is that? 5 seasons. So I have watched, I think, 3.
So we're asking ourselves, can one season of a brilliant Prison Break beat an entire series of Full House?
Yeah.
Yes, it can.
Full House is 8 seasons.
I was close.
Because I'm no longer 10 years old and I no longer see Stephanie. I don't have those same feelings.
You know, I thought going into this, I was like an easy win for Full House. But you raised good points.
I have not seen Prison Break, but you guys are making season 1 sound like
Season
it's
1
juicy.
is
Season 1
amazing.
is fantastic.
Yes.
Did like season 2 happen during like a writer's strike and it just went plummeting like Heroes?
No.
No, I mean, it started off interesting because it was it the DB Cooper storyline that they were focusing on.
They're focused on DB Cooper, yep.
And then, this is when I stopped watching, is when they were going through Tooele, Utah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, huh.
Well, obviously, your writers aren't very creative. Tooele, Utah, come on. I think I'm going Prison Break. I thought I was going into this with Full House, but going Prison Break.
I'll just give a nod to Full House.
Okay. And Brett's Prison Break.
Yep, I'm Prison
Prison
Break.
Break moves on. All right. Next one, Black Mirror versus That 70s Show.
Interesting.
So I have not seen Black Mirror, but I have seen That 70s Show. And I think That 70s Show is a fantastic show. I think Red Foreman is by far my most favorite character in that entire series.
Yes.
Hands down. I think he's probably one of the best characters just created ever.
Well, him and Kimmy, or not,
Kitty.
Kitty, yeah. Oh my word.
Yes. I think once like most shows, once you get one person that leaves the show, it all starts falling apart. And I think once Eric Foreman leaves the show and only comes back on guest visits.
Well, you really like that dynamic between Red and Eric.
Yeah.
Like it meshes really well.
The only thing I would say is I just am not the biggest fan of what is Eric's girlfriend's name?
Donna?
Just not a big fan of her. I think she takes away from the show rather than adds to it. I like everybody else. I like Kelso. I like Hyde, Jackie, Fez.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Eric is. I've said this before. I'm gonna restate it again because who knows if somebody's not listening to my previous episodes where I say this. The main character in TV shows tends to be the most boring. I feel like.
Yeah, you've said that.
Yeah,
about,
and you don't like that with Ted
No.
Mosby.
Ted Mosby. I am Ted Mosby. Okay.
Just whatever the show is focused on, that person seems to be the most lame in the show. When it's like a group sitcom like that. But so I think Eric Foreman is just that.
I don't know. I see Eric as the consistent. Like
That's what
it's his world,
Yeah.
like Bobby's world.
And that's what like Ted Mosby is. Like everybody's circled around Ted Mosby and everybody else is more interesting than him. But I will give that he's a little bit more interesting than Eric Foreman.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go all in on that 70s show. That show is way more rewatchable.
Yeah.
Not only that, Black Mirror, when you watch an episode, you feel weird.
I will tell you, there is a fantastic YouTube channel that breaks down all of the secret Easter eggs, and like they connect this episode with this episode. They are fantastic. Like if you ever are like curious about like whenever you watch Black Mirror and there's some little small scrolling thing across the bottom or whatever, people not only pay attention to that, but they read it. They look for hints. Black Mirror is so well thought out that even the restaurant chain is something that pops up in various places. It is possibly one of the smartest horror TV shows out there. However, like I said previously, I don't think all Black Mirror episodes are equal.
No, they're not.
I read the summary, and it kind of goes into the whole face-off effect from Adam Carolla. If I don't want to believe that this world exists in that summary, I just choose not to watch that episode. And also, FYI, I just barely went to Walmart and they were selling That 70s Show DVD box set for $20, and I can't pass that up.
A full series box set? $20?
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
It probably didn't come with the digital copy, right?
No.
Oh, that would have been a dream come true right there.
Wow.
No.
All right, so we're all going in on that 70s Show. That 70s Show is a very rewatchable. I could see that going quite a distance in this.
Yeah, man.
This one I'm interested in what you guys are going to pick.
This
So
one
Ted
feels-
Lasso versus Seinfeld.
This feels mean.
And for the first time ever, I'm going to read those scores. So the tomato meter is 90. Average audience is 86 for Ted Lasso. Seinfeld is 89 for tomato meter and 92 for average audience. So very in the same ballpark as far as quality goes. Yeah, this was just a mean one to do. I know where I sit, but I want to hear
I
what
think
you
I
guys-
know where you sit too. Well, Ted Lasso for me is fantastic. It is. It was a big surprise too. It kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I love the character Ted Lasso. He's got just some goofiness to him that's great. Seinfeld for me is my number one favorite sitcom of all time. I think the four characters in there mesh so well together, and it's kind of one of those shows where you could pick up watching it in between any season at any time and just go.
Yeah.
There you don't need background
Mhm.
on anything that's ever happened in
That's
the show
true.
before.
Do they have a term for that?
Possibly.
Because I know that in sitcoms, that's a very common trope or whatever.
I mean, basically, you have your standalone episodes compared to season arcs.
Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So
They're
they're just all standalones, essentially.
yeah, they're all standalone shows.
except for the last two.
Yeah. I mean, there's very rare where there's like a part 1, part 2. But for the most part, you could pick up anywhere you want. And that's one of the great things I like about specific shows like that, where it's just, you can drop in anytime you want, and
Yep.
you already know, you can know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I love all the characters in that mesh well together. But I mean, I'm not throwing away Ted Lasso just yet, because Ted Lasso, I think, meshes well with all the players. I mean,
Mhm.
and their dynamics. And, Roy is fantastic in that show too. Like
Yeah.
he's one of those uncles that you really want. And
Do you want him as an uncle?
I mean, if you're his niece or nephew, yeah.
I mean, you get money. I don't know if have you seen it all?
Yeah.
Have you seen it all?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you get, it's not a spoiler or anything, but she gets money every time he cusses. So
Yeah.
that's a win.
So, and I like Coach Beard. I think he's great.
He
There
is.
are some weird episodes there's that one weird episode in season 2 with Coach Beard.
Oh yeah, that was a weird episode.
That was just so out of nowhere and random, and I don't know if it's really necessary.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think I'm going Seinfeld.
Yeah, I've watched the first season of Ted Lasso. I enjoyed it, but it just it's not one of those things where I'm constantly like, oh, when's the next season coming out? When's the next season coming out? I watched it. I will eventually watch Ted Lasso to seasons 2 and 3. But to me, Seinfeld, my favorite thing about Seinfeld is when Seinfeld those episodes transition into real life. Like I have gone out on a date with a girl that has man hands. I have a friend who is the ultimate two-face, where in good light, he looks handsome. In other lights, he looks like Lurch. It is...
They do that in Seinfeld too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I just knew How I Met Your Mother did that.
It is fantastic. And then you have those classic episodes like Kenny Rogers Roasters and
The Soup Nazi.
The Soup Nazi. Oh man, I
And
absolutely
the spitter.
yeah. Oh man, when they did the whole JFK thing, which is funny because I think the guy who plays Newman was in JFK also.
Yeah, I believe
think.
so.
But yeah, I mean, to me, Seinfeld, you're right. Futurama has like massive rewatchability, but there's like some episodes where I'm like, I'll skip this one. To me, Seinfeld's just like, okay, what are we in for? All right, let's go.
And I mean, like the first and second seasons of Seinfeld.
Sorry, go on.
The first and second seasons of Seinfeld are maybe the least
Yeah.
favorites of all of them, but I feel like they really found their footing in season 3 and beyond.
Oh yeah.
And it just kept getting better.
Uh-huh.
I'll say my favorite episode of Seinfeld is The Bet.
Oh yeah.
That's season 4.
That's a pretty good one.
It's the contest.
Yeah, the contest.
Oh, is that what it's called?
It's called contest.
I will say my 2 cents. Seinfeld I watched it a ton because of TBS growing up. And because of that, you rolled the dice and you didn't know which episode you're going to watch because it's just reruns. And I got to a certain point shortly after the show ended in a horrible fashion, if you ask me.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think I ever care to watch it again.
Interesting.
I think it's a great show. I just don't personally care to watch it again. Ted Lasso, obviously, I love and adore, and I love Roy Kent and Ted Lasso. All the characters from, wow, I can't remember. Football is Life. Oh, what is his name?
Oh yeah.
Denny
Denny Rojas.
Danny Rojas. All these people, I love them. I could rewatch it over and over and over again. I don't know what to attribute Seinfeld's burnout to. I don't know if it was TBS or what, or the fact that I watched it when I was, I'm 6 years younger than you. So, and I watched it as a kid, but yeah, fortunately I got burnt out. So I will put my one sad vote for Ted Lasso.
That's not how I was expecting that to turn out. I was expecting I was going to cast the only vote for Seinfeld.
I knew it came down to Criddle.
It was a tough I looked at that beforehand and I'm like, that's going to be rough.
Yes.
Because I really do enjoy Ted Lasso, and it's a show that I do want to. We just finished season 3, and I want to go back and watch season 1 and 2 and 3 again. I think season 2 might be my least favorite out of the 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have to rewatch them again. I do and still enjoy them all.
All right, just seeing where we are in this bracket here, trying to zoom out. All right, we are ready to start. Oh, no, we're not.
Nope.
Why can't I zoom? Zoom. Oh, here we go. There's a button for that. All right, so we go to number 4. Okay, we are going. All right, so 1990s. Well, I think it started in the 80s. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV series against Terminal List. So 2
very different shows.
Animated cartoon against a live action Navy SEAL. Rewatchability though. So I haven't watched this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for probably when Jude was like 2 or 3. So it's been about 9-ish years for me. I think, I don't know if I want to say that it's rewatchable. It is rewatchable, but like the level of rewatchability is not very high. Terminal List is not rewatchable because it's one of those series that once you watch it all the way through, you know everything. And It's not suspenseful. It's like, I don't know, Brett, what is your take? I mean, I know it's on the list later, but 24, is that super rewatchable for you? I know you like 24 a lot.
What was it? Way back in the day when Yumi used to do Black Friday, I picked up the first, I think, 6 seasons of 24 for about $5 each. And after, what was it? Some summer lull, I started watching the first season of 24. And there's just a lack of like worry and concern.
Mm-hmm.
not only knowing that I mean, granted, while I was watching it, I was binging before it was popular. Like I felt as though me and my family started the trend of binging 24. Like we would sit out the entire season and then wait for it to go to Blockbuster. And then we would just check out disc by disc by disc. But,
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. R.I.P.
But, and so I redid it for the first season. And the funny thing about the first season of 24 is the ticker sounds different in the first season compared to the standard ticker that you're familiar with from season 2 on. And it got distracting. I'm like, no, like, why does the countdown ticker sound different? This was the first season, but this was like the best season and it sounds different. And I don't like that it sounds different. And so I think, maybe it's been 20 years since I watched 24. Maybe it's, maybe it takes 24 years to, get back into rewatching 24. Who knows? But I don't think 24 has a high rewatchability. But with both of these, like the Terminal List is, like you said, a very serious drama, a military drama. It's good. But like each of those episodes, I think vary in length. I swear, like one of them is like 90 minutes and a couple of them are like 40. And
to derail you, what are your thoughts on that? Because I kind of don't like the randomness. Not like, yes, I like the extra content in one episode and normal about on the others. But also, I'm like, sometimes I don't look at the time. And I'm like, oh, this is just going to be a 40-minute show. I got time for that.
Well, it's weird because, like, what was it? Here's an interesting situation because you have the Disney Plus series Secret Invasion. The first episode,
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Over 60 minutes. And then the last episode is barely 25.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen that show yet.
It is a great show.
And so it's just like, wait, how can you barely get... And I say barely 25. I think it's about 30, but there's like 5 minutes of credits at the very end. So you have this all-out final battle that is hurried. I would rather it kind of almost be inversed. You have a short first episode, and the last episode shouldn't be rushed, especially if it's, a fight to the death, dueling, bad guy versus good guy. It should take a while. It should like suck you into this world.
Yep.
And to do it the exact inverse, I feel as though is like not cool.
Yep, I would concur. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, it's fine. So with this, I don't think either one of them is rewatchable. Like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has, and right now I'm in this big nostalgia kick. I will tell you, when it comes to recommendations, for the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to be recommending box sets of stuff that I've picked up because I went from like only wanting digital downloads to I get irked when I see like things get pulled off of streaming services because, they were insensitive of the times, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no.
I hate that.
This was done at this time.
Yeah. That's what I like about Disney Plus. Whenever you watch those older cartoons, they just have a blurb said, hey, this was made during a different time, blah, 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 blah. But yet, here's the 100% of the content.
We're getting a little too sensitive, society.
Yeah.
And so I, on purpose, decide, you know what? It will always exist physically if I own it physically. You can easily delete something digitally. So I've been... what was it? Just before my summer present to myself was I basically bought like $200 worth of like various box sets or whatever.
You're going to be now
summer content.
Exactly.
The National Archives at Brett's house.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm still one of those that collects physical
you are.
copies.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I've given up. I mean, I have mine in that little thing right there that holds.
Like, there's been times where internet's gone out, and I'm like, well,
yep,
I got it.
We had that recently. We had it out for almost a whole day, and so we pulled out our DVDs. I'm like, man, we don't have that very many kid DVDs though.
Mm-hmm. So it's I collect both the kid stuff and the adult stuff,
which is interesting because Disney is slowly going to cease printing physical media. Like
that's going to go up in value.
I think I heard that any new Disney stuff is not going to be done in Region 4, which is Australia. So
They're testing it.
yeah. And so
Crikey.
yeah, so some of the stuff, like, if you want to get it on DVD or Blu-ray, I would probably be searching it out right now, because eventually no new media is going to be printed by Disney, and it's all going to be they're forcing you to go to Disney Plus to go watch their stuff.
It'll be interesting to see if Apple acquires Disney.
Yeah.
And see what they do. All right. So
out of both of those, I'm just going to go with, back to the actual content at hand. I'm just going to put my plug in for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it's nostalgia.
I'm going there anyway, too, because action shows that are suspenseful are hard to rewatch and have that same interest value in there.
Yeah, and I'm leaning towards that, not just because I saw the Ninja Turtle movie last night.
How was it?
It wasn't bad. It's pretty good.
I don't think I could watch it. I'm not a fan of that animation.
I'm a fan of, I don't know which one this one is, but I tell you, there's a newer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle made by Nickelodeon in, like, what do you call it, the 2010s?
Uh-huh.
These are this
That was fantastic.
This one, they definitely acted like teenagers. Like,
Okay.
That's what I've heard. I've heard the positive thing is they don't act like adults.
they're Gen Z teenagers.
Mhm. That's great. So you're going with TMT?
TMNT.
Okay. They move on. All right. Brooklyn Nine-Nine versus Parks and Rec. I know Brett's felt.
It's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If somebody hit the delete button and deleted every single copy of Parks and Rec, I would shed 0 tears.
Criddle, what's your opinion on these? I'm curious.
Okay, so I've seen each one of these once.
Me too.
Okay, so Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think, has a lot more funny moments and funnier episodes. I think the first 3 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine are the best out of the whole series.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
I like Jake Peralta, and his character, and I love the pranks that go on in that show and
the Halloween episodes.
I think it's just a fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
Parks and Rec, there's a lot of funny characters in there. Like, I think Chris Pratt is one of the saving graces of that show, and I think I like Chris Pratt better when he was in that show versus what he is now. And the character of, what is it, Ron?
Yeah.
Ron Swanson. He is just hilarious and funny, and just you trying to understand why he's in the job he's in, and even though he hates government, and he tries to be the manly man, and it's really great. But I think overall, I would lean towards Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
All right. I also go towards Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I watch Parks and Rec for my wife because she loves it. I don't really care for it. If Chris Pratt and Ron Swanson are the saving grace of that show, without those two, I don't think it would be watchable.
Like, I think Aziz Ansari is really annoying.
Yes, he is.
Like, any show he's in, I'm just like, please make it stop.
He's like the modern day Joe Pesci. I'm going, okay.
I prefer Joe Pesci over that.
Yeah, I probably would too. Yeah.
I like Joe Pesci.
Yeah. All right, next one, Community versus The Middle. This is Community has 88, which is funny, and the Malcolm Middle is we didn't have anything for the tomato meter, so 90 for audience score.
Oh,
which
man.
I feel like that number is incorrect.
This hurts my nostalgia feel goods because I watch Community as an adult and I love it. But Malcolm in the Middle, I remember watching that weekly in the early 2000s, and it just holds a special spot. Like, what was it? One of my friends, my friend in Brigham, was reminding me about one episode at Malcolm in the Middle about how, like, at the very beginning of every single episode, something happens. And he was telling me about his favorite beginning, where Lois is sitting there because her house is too quiet, and she walks in on Malcolm and his brother, and she's like, "What are you guys up to?" And she goes, "They're like nothing." And so she's like, looks at them and she closes the door. And then so she kind of like walks out and it's just too quiet. And so she turns around and she goes, "You guys are up to something because it's too quiet." And she says, "What are you guys doing? What are you really doing?" And they're like, "Nothing." She's like, so she just kind of like looks at them and just kind of turns around and walks out. And then behind the door is taped their little brother. And what is it? The older brother just turns to Malcolm and just goes, "She's losing a step."
The show is great. I always remember the episode. First of all, I think the dad is hilarious.
Fantastic.
Hal is the best.
Yes.
I love Hal.
Yeah, Hal's the best. And I remember the episode where he's trying to get Lois fat.
Yeah.
He puts butter in everything. That was good.
There was one episode where I think it started off with Hal, and he comes home from work, and then he opens up a creaky drawer, and then he's like, "Oh, got to fix that." And then he goes to get something else to fix it, and then he realizes there's something else that's wrong, and so he tries to go and fix that, and he goes to his car, and there's something wrong with his car, and it's one thing after the other, and then before you know it, Lois comes home and says, "How come you're not fixing this?" And he says, "What do you think I'm doing?" He's working on his car instead of like the drawer.
In that show, I will say Malcolm, once again, main guy,
Boring.
the most boring.
Yeah, well, because his not the oldest brother, but the brother above him.
Oh, yeah.
I think he is like, Hal is the best. Lois is also the second best, but his slightly older brother,
Yeah, he's great too.
He's great.
I haven't seen him anywhere.
I know.
Since that show. I've seen obviously the oldest brother elsewhere, Malcolm elsewhere. I've seen the youngest somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I forget where, but I have. I haven't seen Lois anywhere since the show.
She popped up somewhere one time, and I'm like,
I could see her in a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
But I think the writing of Dan Harmon in Community and that cast before season, I mean, we're encompassing all seasons there, even unfortunately after the departure of Chevy Chase and the departure of Donald Glover. I still think Community wins this one out for me.
The season really does take it, or the series takes a turn when those two characters go.
Yeah.
But it's funny how
So
there's
sad.
like maybe 1 or 2 episodes per season after that happens. They're still good quality because like the Floor's Lava episode.
Oh, that's
that's
best.
post those two. Oh no, I guess Danny Glover's still. That's his
Yeah,
last episode.
That's his last season.
My
Or
favorite episode is the dice roll, and
Oh
Yes.
yes,
that's my favorite.
The timeline.
Timelines.
But I mean, like the episodes of like the chicken, in the cafeteria, and the blanket fort, and just like all these random, the paintball.
Yeah.
The paintball ones are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I can rewatch those over and over and over again, and have.
Which is funny because I own them. I bought them easily on iTunes. And they were like at a discounted rate. And then when they started deleting a couple of them, one of the Dungeons and Dragons one, I went out and I bought it physically because I'm like, you are not taking the Dungeons and Dragons away from me.
No.
I feel like a lot of the Malcolm in the Middle episodes, to me, feel quite repetitive.
Oh yeah.
And so, that's to me is a negative in its notch. So I think I'm leaning towards Community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right,
So
Brett.
I'm just going to go with Malcolm in the Middle because I haven't gotten my and a movie yet.
It's coming.
All right. Supernatural versus Walking Dead. I didn't even think about this one's 2 horrors essentially.
Oh wow.
I mean, I know who's going to win this one flat out. I have no surprise.
Who's
seen Supernatural? You've seen some. Have you seen all of
I've
it?
seen most of
it. Yeah, I think I know you hate the one season with the
Leviathan.
Leviathan, yeah.
Yeah.
Criddle, have you seen Supernatural?
I have not.
Oh man, you need to.
I've been wanting to, and I'm just waiting for the right moment.
15 seasons is a long time. Every season, 20-ish episodes.
I just have a really, So they're like what 45-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Man, I have the hardest time staying awake at night because I get up for work so early, and so like as soon as like I'm like really hyped and ready to go to bed, and like I'm lay down, and like within 2 minutes I'm like, this is feeling really comfy. My eyes are getting really heavy.
I hate people like that. Sorry.
He hates you.
I just man, as soon as like it's like all the worries come out, it's like I pass out.
I had that yesterday.
I think Supernatural is interesting. It was brought up on a YouTube video that I was watching that Supernatural basically owes its continued success on after like series 3 that they started doing huge arcs, because it was, the first couple of seasons was just, they were looking for the yellow-eyed demon, but
Yeah, they were less of an arc, yeah.
but it was more Monster of the Week.
Yep.
Monster of the Week. And then suddenly once it became season arcs, it just took off Supernatural to a different level.
And I think that also, I don't know the timeline of Supernatural versus Smallville because they're both CW shows, but I feel like that's kind of what Smallville did too, because they started off with, bad guy of the week.
Yeah, meta-human of the week.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I think, I don't know, did Flash do that at the beginning?
Yeah, Flash did the first season. It was kind of introducing you to all of Flash's rogues gallery, because to me personally, Batman has the #1 rogues gallery out of, I think, all of comics. And
Spider-Man's 2 probably.
Yeah, Spider-Man's 2. And then DC, in the DC world, I think Flash has the second best rogues gallery. So I feel as though they did have an arc, but most of it was, interweaved at like the last 3 minutes of the series to kind of tease what was going to come later. Whereas, the Flash is constantly fighting this guy, this guy, this guy. So you're exposed to the rogues gallery with an underlying season arc that's going on. Whereas, Supernatural, kind of very similar to Supernatural, where it was, okay, we need to find the yellow-eyed demon, but, Monster of the Week, Monster of the Week, Monster of the Week.
I see. That's why I think I attribute at least the beginning of Supernatural's first 3 seasons to just like a CW. That's the way they do things. And it's like, oh, this doesn't exactly work. Even though I did enjoy it, because like, I think when I started, I was like, I love this Monster of the Week and like laying down the lore. It almost helps the show progress in a way, for me personally, not for everybody, but like, okay, we're learning about, what are they called? The ones that are found in the mountains that are from cannibals. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like you learn about their lore and how to kill them and what they do and all that stuff. And it's fun because later on in the show, they reappear in some shape or form. And you're like, and you're even guessing, oh, is this kind of monster or is it this kind of monster? And they're trying to figure it out too. And it's kind of fun to do it with them. But
I really need to give it a try.
Yep. Walking Dead as a whole show, I haven't been able to finish it. I'm on the last season and I can't get across the finish line. So
I'm still where Glenn died.
See, and that's news to me. I didn't know Glenn died.
You didn't know Glenn? Man,
No.
that was like the pinnacle of Walking Dead right there.
No.
It like the story, like I think the old time watchers or the viewership of that episode was just insane.
Okay, just wait. Just because I got the whole Michelle Stephanie thing wrong. Glenn's the Asian, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So it is a sad episode.
That's a normal Asian name, right, Glenn?
Yeah.
So, for me personally, The Walking Dead, like to me, the first season, it was interesting because they were like, everybody was in the whole like what's going on type of a thing. The thing that irked me about the first season though was how it ended, where the twin sister was dying and she turns into a zombie, and whoever's sister it was, she's like, you're not, I wanted her to get the twin sister to rip off the other twin sister's face. Like everybody's saying, this is going to happen. It's not going to be pretty. And they're like, no, nobody touch her. Nobody touch her. And I was just like, please die. Please,
I know,
please
right?
die. And then, somebody pointed out to me, seasons like 2 through 4. I
Two
don't
is
know.
awful.
Where it's basically, you have the reprieve from the previous week's cliffhanger. They're looking for this. They're looking for this. They're saying that they're sad that so-and-so's dead. They're annoyed that zombies are a thing. They're looking for, hey, let's go look for food. Let's go down to this basement. There'd be no, look, this basement's flooded with water. There's no way any zombies would be in this flooded basement with water. And then, cliffhanger, oh, there are zombies in this basement with water. And it did that routinely for a while. And so I stopped watching it. And then you told me the governor is like phenomenal. So
yes, he is one of the best TV bad guys. One of them. I don't know. There's probably others.
So then I got into the governor, who was so bad. I loved to hate him so much. And I feel as though that there's something beautiful about the moment
there is.
when you hate somebody so much with that kind of passion that you just want their existence to end, but if it ends, they're going to have to replace it with somebody.
Yes.
And will that person be as equally as good and as hateable as the previous one? And so once they got rid of the mayor or whatever, the governor, I stopped watching it. And then I heard that they killed the son. And so I just scrubbed ahead to watch how they did it, because I'm actually outraged that they killed the son, because like, just let him just go off on his merry way.
Yep.
Like,
that's what they do with
Rick?
No. Rick is a mystery, and that he's like the only reason, like, he's presumed dead, but they don't know it for a fact. No, Maggie, she went away, and when she wanted to leave the show, but then I guess at one point she decided her career wasn't going as well as she wanted, so she came back.
See, and that's what they should.
And now they have a spinoff.
Well, yeah, and that's the funny thing, because I watched the first episode for free, which I didn't think that episode was good at all. But I'm like, that's what the kid should have done. I know he was going to college or whatever, but you know what? You might regret them killing off your character. I mean, I think he was for it, but I'm looking at the longer run.
Yes.
Like I'm looking at the Disney Channel life. You know what? Give me, if I had a choice of being in a Martin Scorsese film where I'm like idolized but only appear once, or I'm like in Disney Channel's Wizards of Waverly Place for 12 years, give me that.
It's guaranteed work.
Yep, exactly.
But like, one of my biggest complaints about The Walking Dead is like similar to what Jeff Goldblum is in Jurassic Park. Now you do plan to have zombies in your zombie show.
Yeah.
There's so many episodes where like you're like, where are the zombies?
Yeah, it's true. As somebody who has read, I don't know, I need to check out if I finished the last comic book that I have, but I've read almost, I wait for the compendium. So I binge the comics essentially. So I wait for the compendiums to come out and I read them all the way through. And honestly, so I'm not saying this is a bragging rights. I'm just saying that where I was, I read the first compendium before there was even talks of a show. And I was so obsessed with this comic book. And to see it kind of fall flat on his face really hurt, because it's like the comic has all the meat in it. And they put all this extra crap in it, all this lard, I guess, or whatever, into the show. And they're like, stick with the comic. Don't put all this filler nonsense in there, because you just watered this down.
The AMC drama.
Yes. And like, the drama is still there in the comic book, and the action is way more intense than it is in the show. And you hate the governor just as much. I mean, I think actually, I probably want to say TV probably made me hate the governor more. But then even Negan, to his point, he does kind of step up to the throne almost as much as the governor, as far as a bad guy goes. But I think the governor just outdoes him a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
And then the next one's Alpha. But then also talking the difference between like the time gaps between these villains, so to speak, is just a big lull.
Yeah.
Like you're like, this story, this is dumb. Let's keep going. Let's go. Let's get to the next like big story arc and leave this garbage behind. So long story short, obviously Supernatural is one of my favorite shows of all time. I've rewatched it probably 3 or 4 times. So I do love it. But I was really saddened to see that 72 of the audience gave it a 72.
I'll go for Walking Dead.
Okay. Well, I think this is a good place to stop here because we are halfway through the first, whatever it's called, division. We went through the first round of the first. Is that what it was? You're an NCAA more fan than I am, Brett.
Yeah.
What are the sections called?
I mean, first bracket, first round.
Yeah, first bracket. The first round of the first bracket.
Mm-hmm. So
we've completed that. And just to kind of sum it up, next time when we discuss this bracket, it'll be Futurama versus Prison Break, that 70 Show versus Seinfeld, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Community versus Supernatural. Though some of those are mean ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, let's get on to our recommendations.
All right. So for my recommendation, this is something I'm actually getting ready to do because I just got notification that my HBO Max, I'm not going to call it Max because that's the way I roll. HBO Max subscription ends, I think, the August 28th. And so I am going to be looking at all of the series that I am interested in, because I've also found out that, or maybe just binge all the ones that I want to, and then just let it lapse for a couple of months, because I don't know, I'm not watching it that much. I mean, it has some good stuff. I haven't watched the most recent Titans series, which I do kind of want to watch, but I don't want to watch at the same time. And then there's a couple other series. And then as I was looking at those series, I went to my big old zipper of all of my seasons that I've bought. And I'm like, oh, I've actually owned that for years, and I haven't watched it yet. So my recommendation is, I guess, if you have a streaming service and you're curious of its constant value to you, do a massive sit down and see what it's constantly or currently providing, and could you do without that for at least a year or a couple months? Because I think right now I haven't done it, but I'm siding on the whole dropping HBO Max for a while.
That's fair. I don't use your HBO Max very often. Every once in a while I find some random movie that's on there and I'm like, oh, I need to see that. But no, there's a lot of shows I'm waiting for them to, come out with another season before I go back and really get into that app. Some more. My recommendation is Apple's Hijack.
Oh yeah, that is good.
I mean, I'm still not far into it because I went 2 episodes and then I was like, oh crap, this is a show that my wife would love. So I've got to find time for her to watch it and then start over.
Well, the funny thing about Hijack is there's points like, every so often when you're watching a horror movie, a zombie movie or something like that, to me personally, if I was, if a zombie outbreak popped out, I'd be like, it's kind of like that, like Walking Dead series that I've watched or something like that.
Yeah.
So, at least in like zombie movies or zombie TV shows, zombies aren't a thing that exist in that reality. And so I'm watching, Hijack, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a certain
zombie.
there's a certain thing that happens, and I'm like, shows like 24 aren't a thing in this reality, because I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I already know what's going to happen, and it's not good. Had you watched Jack Bauer, you would know that this is not good.
That's funny. I just like the story of Idris Elba being a business negotiator, not even police. Like I was expecting him to be a U.S. Marshal or something, even though it's starting off in Dubai. I don't know where it is. And I was like, oh, he's a marshal of some sort, of a British marshal. And since they're going to England, but nope, just a businessman that's brought in for negotiations on closing deals. And I'm like, this is interesting. This puts a whole different spin. It's not a John McClane story kind of thing or anything else. I'm like, okay, I want to see where this goes because this could go completely a different trajectory than I'm used to. But I'm only 2 episodes in because we just watched the first episode again a couple nights ago. So hopefully I get some more traction. We can finish them.
Okay. I have a pre-recommendation and a recommendation. My pre-recommendation is I'm going to see The Meg today.
Ooh.
The Meg 2.
Ooh, I like the Meg 1. I did. It is, if you enjoyed, sorry, I'm stealing stealing your soapbox here. If you enjoyed, what is that?
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea. If you enjoyed Deep Blue Sea, this is the movie for you. I hope Meg 2 delivers just as much.
I enjoyed the first Meg. I think it's so wildly bizarre and crazy and fun, and so the trailer for number 2, they really lean heavily into the silly, but also just like the craziness of everything. So I'm excited to go see it. It's also a Jason Statham movie, so I'm like, why not? And then my recommendation is over the last few weeks, we've been rewatching all the Fast and the Furious. And
I still need to do that.
And I recommend all the Fast and the Furious movies.
Even 3.
Some are better than others.
Tokyo Drift. I ask that every single time.
Okay,
No,
so
don't. But I'm somebody who doesn't really like most of Fast and Furious.
I think you appreciate Fast and the Furious 3 more when you've watched the other ones.
Okay, so go 1, 2, and then 4 and on, and then come back to 3.
See, you go 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 8, 9.
Where
10.
does Hobbs and whatever come in?
8.5.
8.5.
I've already watched Hobbs 1, and I didn't really care
You
for
didn't
it.
care for it.
And
Which
so
is weird because that's the only one that to me looks good.
it's a fun watch.
It's just a stereotypical action, like nothing special about it in my book.
Somebody told me that you know what would make Fast and the Furious better is if they fell into the Transformers world.
That would be cool, and one of them gets Bumblebee.
I mean, the Hobbs, it's not far off. So I that's one of my guilty pleasure series franchises.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to Fast 11 and the next Hobbs movie. So when those come out, who knows?
I wonder if, looking at Vin Diesel's career, if I looked at his filmography, has he been in more Fast and the Furious movies than other movies combined? I mean, I guess the fact that he does the voice for Groot, but I'm going to count only movies he's actually been of, physical representation of him in.
Oh, Furious is probably it then.
Yeah, because I can only know Pitch Black 1 and 2. 2 is called something else, but it's not Pitch
He was
Black.
in 2 XXX.
Riddick.
Riddick, yeah. There's 2 Triple X's?
Well, there's
Yes.
3, but he's only in 2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really? I thought there was only 2 and he was only in 1.
There's 3 and he's in 2.
Okay. 3 and 2 and 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
He's in the first one and the third one.
Is Samuel Jackson in both? All 3?
Samuel Jackson. I haven't seen the third one, but I
Okay.
think he's in 1 and 2.
Okay.
That went off. So that's my recommendation. And I mean, if you're into Ninja Turtles, go see the Ninja Turtle movie.
I will tell you,
fun.
there's one series that I was listening. I didn't even know it existed. It's a movie. It's coming out at the end of August. I'm not going to watch it in the movie theaters. I'm just going to wait for it to come on wherever it's going to come out, maybe Redbox. But it's called Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse?
It is about a alpha sloth that has been taken out of its environment, put in a sorority home, and it starts going on a murderous rampage.
Is there a trailer out
Yes,
for this?
it is.
I need to see this because it's a sloth.
Uh-huh.
And that in itself is just the weirdest thing.
The summary while you're looking it up is senior Emily Young wants to be elected sorority president. She adopts a cute sloth thinking it will help her win, but strings of fatalities implicates the sloth. It looks so bad, and that is so my jam.
What the heck?
I know.
Now's a good time to catch up on stuff because of the strike.
Exactly.
Yeah. And honestly, I'll just say my 2 cents in the strike because I don't have a lot to say, but I'm kind of surprised that, I don't know, all the people that have been posting their their checks that they get for what are they called?
Yeah.
Royalties?
Yeah.
Royalties, yes. I'm kind of surprised how little they get paid.
Well,
I thought they got paid way more.
It was weird because, okay, so going to the 24, remember 24, the president's brother?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was complaining about it. I'm not sure if he was complaining about it in person or on Twitter or whatever, but he was showing his residual check that he got for like, I don't know, like a month or so from his appearance in Suits.
Uh-huh.
And he's just like, I can't believe I got 16 cents for it. And I like looked up he's in like 12 episodes. Like, what did you think you were going to get?
Yeah. And it's funny that you brought up, what is it called? Witches of Waverly Place? Because I've never seen it before. And I guess there's a reoccurring character that's been in it from like season 1 to all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
He gets paid next to nothing.
Oh, wow.
He gets like cents. And I'm like, and then I started seeing all these people posting all their checks of what they get. And I'm like, all these checks are cents that they're getting. And I'm like, and I'm pretty sure it costs more to print the check, mail it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's ridiculous.
I mean, to me, I kind of don't feel that bad because they made their money initially. This is extra stuff. This is,
Yeah.
I think, to me personally, this is extra stuff that you shouldn't be counting on. It should be, oh, look what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I'm a teacher. Like, I don't expect to make more than, if I do make more, I have to go to conferences. I have to go do this.
Yeah.
I have to go to that. Like, I don't get like residuals from my students that, like my first group of kids just barely graduated from high school. I don't get a residual for them having graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
That would be. Be nice if you got bonuses. if
Exactly.
Your kids all graduated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think there needs to be something that, because I understand the argument of they went through the, what is it called? Oh man, I'm struggling with words right now. Where they interview,
Mm-hmm.
I can't figure out words, and they get the job, they start getting paid for doing their scenes. But then, like, there's that huge gap with a lot of these non-A-listers, not even B-lister actors, who just are now trying to get their next job after that one's done. Yes, they got a good pay, but now they have that lull in between. And it's like, it's a grind, is my understanding. So it's like, how do they expect to keep, like, background, one-liner actors or keep getting those people if they can't even make a living?
That
you
is
know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like at some point you're not going to have those people, and then it's going to be a very boring movie or show.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I just think, if you're going to keep replaying them over and over and over again, I mean, well, obviously you don't know how the success of something is going to be.
Well, and that's the other thing about this. Like, the actor or the writers are banking on the streaming numbers being huge, and there's a thought that by the streamers that actually they're suffering more than they're letting on. They're saying that everything is good, but in reality they're saying that there's a belief that everything is actually not good. And so if the investors were to see the actual numbers, the actors and writers thinking, hey, I'm going to get paid because all of these things are a success and blah, 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 because everything I do is great. And which could be for some of them, like, Stranger Things and whatnot. Yeah. But then on the other hand, you end up with this whole, well, it's not good. Oh, hey, by the way, Netflix just lost $5 billion in like whatever because the numbers got out and it wasn't as good as they promised their investors. And now you have all these corporations belly up, and maybe the U.S. government has to send our tax dollars in to bail them out, which I would not be for.
No, let them sink.
Yeah.
Let them do what was that dumb video service during COVID? Do you remember like the 7-minute episode video streaming service?
Yeah.
That went belly up right after COVID was pretty much over. And then Roku bought them, so has all their content. But yeah, I don't know all the answers. I just know that whole Hollywood is just a weird dynamic. But heck, there's a lot of things from your being a teacher. You work also in a school. Everything. I don't think everybody has it down right.
No.
So hopefully one day we'll have it figured out. Until then, we'll see you.